Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am the badass Buddha, and we are waiting. Gladiator Guru is coming on, but man, she has been having some serious BS with her internet service, and it's not even just her. It's her, I guess, her whole neighborhood, and they're insisting there's nothing wrong. So she's been booting up and rebooting, and so she'll get there. She will get there. So for now, I'm just gonna run the show until she jumps on. I feel so naked and alone without her, but we will push on. And good morning, Milagros and Kathy. So quick to get on, Tiffany. Tiffany's been slacking a little bit. Kathy's been beating you, Tiffany. Usually Tiffany was like the first one on all the time. So good morning. And we're just teasing. We're so happy that you are here. Milagros is saying same here in Stamford, Connecticut. Yeah, I think that the what is it? The Mercury in retrograde, right? Wasn't it just ending, or it just ended, or something like that? So I personally, thank goodness, have not had any issue. So I don't, but it is frustrating when you do have the issues, especially when they've been ongoing. She's been having them for at least a couple of weeks now. So good morning, Arlene Kelly. We're glad you're here. Chenille Real Deal. So who am I? I am the badass Buddha. My name is Lori Monaco. I am by trade, I am a chiropractic physician. I'm also a teacher, speaker, coach. I facilitate workshops on mindfulness. Mindfulness. What else do I do? I specialize now, interestingly, I specialize in working with women who are in toxic relationships or have been in toxic relationships, especially narcissistic relationships, and have narcissistic abuse syndrome, depression, anxiety. And I help them become fabulous in their life, because God knows I have been through that myself. So who knew that I would be an expert in that just by my life experience alone? And I am a published author, and I'm going to be doing another book this year. We're going to be releasing in June. So if you got the book last year, Her Badass Story, that included Gladiator Guru and Chenille Real Deal and a lot of other fabulous women telling their stories of trauma to triumph to transformation. And we're doing volume 2 for June. So we're really excited about this. So if you know anyone that is ready to share their story and be an author, please feel free to reach out to me, DM me in my in any one of the forums that you can find me, because I am there. Oh, thanks. Arlene Kelly said she read the book. It's so good. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. While we're waiting for Gladiator Guru to come on, because this is such a good conversation today, so we need her to be here because she wrote notes too. She's always writing notes. But today's conversation is the elephant in the motherfucking room. And we've talked about these scenarios before, but that's the way we are rolling this year so far. So far, we are just talking about how it's time to face things and have faith and trust in the process, because last year was so stagnating for so many people, including me and Gladiator Guru. So that has been, without even realizing it, as we put the program together, we haven't even realized that is the message that we've been putting out there. So in order to trust in the process and move forward, you have to face the crap. And so we're going to be talking about the elephant in the motherfucking room today. And then on Thursday, we're going to be talking about empowering the disempowering thoughts. So it's going to be like a continuation with our special guest, Christine Burnett. So let's set our intention for today while we're waiting, and we'll do our mantra. And I'm hopeful that she will be on very shortly. But just a reminder, please don't forget to like, share, make sure that you share today. I haven't had a chance to share because I am doing everything right now. Usually she takes it over for a little while, and then I can share it. So for those of you that are just jumping on, it's not just me today. Hopefully Gladiator Guru will be able to get on. She's just rebooting. She had some internet issues, and thanks, Evie. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try sometimes. Little tan helps, you know. Actually, how sad is this? I'm so white. I was so white when I went to Costa Rica that I definitely burned. Okay. But then I still, like in certain light, I still am red. How is that even possible? I've been gone for over a week. I don't even know how that's still even possible that I'm red. So that's really sad. Usually I do get red, and then it turns to tan, and we're all good. And from that point going forward, I always tan. But yeah, maybe my skin is getting whiter. I don't know. Um, I mean, Michael Jackson's did, right? So anyway, all right. So let's set our intention, and then let's do our mantra, and hopefully I will be able to stall long enough to get Gladiator Guru on here. What are some of the topics in your books? Kathy said. So the topics, because it's a compilation book, it is personal stories. So each woman shares their personal story about something significant in their life that happened to them and how they overcame it, and then how they transform their lives because of it. So and it varies, you know, like mine was a story. It was a relationship story, toxic relationship story, one of them. And the Gladiator Gurus was a personal story of choice. We had health stories. We had toxicity in the workplace. We had uh, stepping into, you know, your greatness with your business, because or where you were working. Hey, there she is! Yay! So it depends. So for this volume two, it's whatever it is. If you have a story to tell, like the more women I've met over the last year, especially, it's amazing the stories that these women have and what they've gone through and what they've triumphed through. I mean, it makes my story look like nothing. But that's what inspires other people to make, you know, to step into their greatness, you know, like maybe there's women out there that don't know what to do, or they're still like afraid to take that chance. But when they read these stories and they're inspired by them, then they will take that chance to move forward and reclaim their lives. And it doesn't matter what age you are. You know, I mean, I reclaimed my life at 46, and I had a really I just wasn't even living anything of my life. Not well, I can't say anything. I wasn't really living the life that I wanted to live, and I was definitely not playing big for my entire life up to 46. I mean, I did things here and there, but a lot of toxicity and abuse. So anyway, yay. So yes, Margie's here. So happy that you are here.
Thank you. Hola, mi gente. Sorry, technical difficulties.
So I was just getting ready to do the intention and mantra, but go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll do the intention and mantra.
Okay, thanks for interrupting me to say that we're going to do something that after I say something, we're going to do. I love it.
Sorry.
No, not. I have an allergic reaction to something, so I look like I have Botox. Look.
I think it looks good. You got you should have said you did. Should say I got Botox.
I don't know, because I don't really get allergic to anything. So I'm sorry, mi gente. Good morning, buenos días. Aquí con la Margarita. It's beautiful. Happy first day of Women's History Month begins today, March 1st. You know, I think, I don't know, is that Lilith's birthday or Eve's birthday? Happy first day of Women's History. We've been here since the beginning of time.
Hell yeah.
A happy first day of Women's History Month, coño. Anywho, who am I? Right now I'm tired and aggravated with the internet. I am La Margarita, your sacred healer, spiritual coach, your end of life doula. I am your wedding officiant. Anybody in the area wants to get married, call me. I am your poet, author, artist. I am a goddess in all of herself because I am magically orgasmic. Good day, buenos dias, namaste. Hey, let's do this. This topic is awesome. Okay.
Yes, I mentioned it, and we're very and got everybody like on board with it, because I was stalling, baby. I was doing my best to stall to get your fabulous self on here. So I'm so glad you came. So let's set the intention and do the mantra, and then we'll get going on this topic. So today's intention, as always, is to be intentional. That's the intention for today. And
grateful. Be filled with gratitude. No matter if you spill a cup of coffee on your way to the computer, no matter if your internet's going to be going in and out, or you have a swollen lip. It doesn't matter. Be intentional with what you're going to do today. I'm also reminding myself this, mi gente, because I want to crawl back into bed. And be grateful that you have the moving part to do so.
All right. And good morning to, we're going to say good morning and shout outs to everybody, because I said a few in the beginning, but we have so many people coming on, and thank you. Make sure that you let everybody else know that we're on. We really want to get everybody to hear these things. So definitely share with your own tribe. Kathy Ruiz is always so good about this. So Ruiz, sorry. I said it's such like a white person. So thank you. So thank you so much. And so let's do our mantra together. You ready? Everyone, here we go. Okay. You could shout it out. You could say it quietly to yourself. You could say it inside. It doesn't matter. You just need to say it. So here we go. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
I am magically orgasmic.
And I am beyond authentic.
And I keep it as real as I can.
So don't ever forget that. If you have not written that mantra down, write it down. Hang it somewhere in your house. Pop it up on your reminders on your phone so you do not forget who you are, especially if you are still in that frame of mind of just starting your transformation or starting to come into your own. You have to be reminded all the time. It's not something that you just look at periodically. You've got to dive deep, and you've got to be to the point of ad nauseum, because you won't be able to shift your mind unless you're in it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm speaking from total experience, because when I decided to do it and said, okay, I'm choosing me, it was every single day, multiple times a day, just listening and watching and reading and hearing. And it was necessary and repetitive. I would repeat the same. I would watch them over and over and over again, listen over and over again, so that it stuck. And then I was able to recite it. And that's when you know you've got it, when you can repeat it to somebody else. So have it up there, inspire yourself every single day. And then let us inspire you on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, who do we have? Oh, my sister Connie's on. Hola, sister. Who else?
Tell me if this sounds different. Does my voice sound different now?
I can't hear you now. I can't hear you.
How about now? Does it sound different?
It sounds like you have a speaker on, but it doesn't sound bad.
Okay. The funny part is I took the speaker off because I'm on this other, I'm on my other laptop, and it doesn't have enough plug-in things. So I can't do what I can't do my normal thing with writing stuff for people and saying hi. So you go ahead and say hi to people, and I will type everything in. Let's get.
Hola, Milagro. Buenos días. Kathy Ruiz, Tiffany Bryant. Beautiful, beautiful tribe. Who else? Arlene Kelly. Good morning. Chanel Real Deal. Good morning. Happy Fat Tuesday. Girl, I'll be there soon. Let's hook up. Arlene, I read the book. So good. Oh, Arlene was talking. I guess when you were talking, Laura.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Every love. My dimple beauty. Iritza, I'm sorry I didn't text you your 10 texts this morning. Me. And I was like, then I spilled coffee, and I'm like, oh my God. Maria de Pilar from Peru. She's in the house. Buenos dias, Bella. My sister Connie. Nicole Young. Carmen Nieves, buenos dias. Yes, it's a beautiful Tuesday morning. And again, happy first day of the Women's Month. There's always something going on. And I think that every day that we get up as women, as wives, as mothers, and people with full-time jobs, like, you're amazing. You're like a superhero who can do all of that and still come home, finish it off, go to bed, and start the next day doing the same shit all over again.
Yes.
How come we never get an Academy Award for that? Best supporting actor, best actor. Like, hello, we're right here with the mop in one hand and the Windex in the other, you know?
I read a fabulous post yesterday, and it talked about how I'm going to paraphrase, and I'm not really doing it justice, but it said basically, it's saying that when we ask you, so they're talking to the husband, like when we ask you to help us around the house or cook dinner, and you say you're too tired, you are, and they just run off this list of how it's undermining what we say, what we do, what, like, you're saying that our job is not worth as much as your job. When you say you're too tired because you worked all day, you're saying that our job isn't worth it. Like, our that what we do isn't good enough, that yours is better. And but it wasn't like slapping the guy in the face kind of deal. It wasn't like saying, blah, blah, blah. It was, I got to find it because it was so beautifully written. It was basically saying, like, we appreciate what you do, but when you make statements like that, you're showing that you don't appreciate what we do, and how challenging it is, and how sometimes our day never ends. And it's the truth, it's like women, especially I'm thinking with women in history, when you look back to a lot of these women, some of these women didn't know they were going to make history. They just did what they were doing because they believed in it. They pushed forward. They all were moms. They all had children. They were like doing these things at a time when women couldn't do them. And they would bring their kids with them. They didn't have daycare. They all worked together. So there'd be some women that would sort of be keeping an eye on the kids, and other women that would be, more forward. And they worked as a community. And that's throughout time, every pocket of history where we made a difference, where women made a difference, that's what we would do. We work together, as opposed to fighting one another and competing with one another. It's been said so many times that competition is a guy's thing. Like, that is competitiveness is a male trait. And that's why as women, we need to do what we do best, where we do great. We can do great individually, but we do a hell of a job as a tribe. And when we keep moving forward and working together, there's no stopping us, man. There's no stopping us, right?
But who wrote that competition is a man's thing? I think, to me, I would personally say it's women are more competitive with one another. Men are competitive in the workforce, but I don't know, the people I've been around, I think it's a lot of women are competitive. Like, we don't get dressed up to please a man. We get dressed up to show off to the other women that are going to show up there.
What they're saying,
we wear longer nails and longer lashes, and we want to do this and that. And I don't know, in my experience going back, I've seen a lot of, even when I used to teach, and if Carmen, you remember her career resource days, even in the classroom, they would fight over who had the stapler last. Like, well, I still got 3 more to staple. And I'm just saying, witnessing it, and it's always, to me, been more women. Men have that dick measuring contest, who can piss further away or whatever, but then they get over it. And it's ugly. And I'm happy that you read that, because I mean, somebody's seeing it from a different perspective.
It's meaning that it's more, it's built in a man to be competitive, and that competitiveness has trickled over into the females. That's what they're trying to say, is that females we have a better, like, the way we do things, we don't need to compete to be fabulous, is what they're saying. Men have to do that. They have to have those pissing contests to exert how good they are. And so what they're saying is that women over the years have learned from men to be competitive because that quote tells you how good you are. That's what they were saying. So what you were seeing was then the result of the years of women wanting to be more out in the open and following suit with how the men were doing it. And meanwhile, that doesn't necessarily feel so natural for women. Well, some women it does.
But who wrote the article, man?
It wasn't an article. I've read it numerous times.
But who wrote it?
No, I didn't read one article. I've read it. I've read it and heard it numerous times and so I don't know. I'll find it for you. How's that? I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm curious because, you know, a man shouldn't write about childbirthing and what does it feel like. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that you read it. Thank you for bringing it up because it does. But women, we gotta do better. You know, those women that Lori mentioned, the suffragettes, I love them. They lost everything. They were in prison. They had their children snatched away from them. They lost everything. Their friends turned on them, family, because they were ashamed that they were standing up for our rights. They paved the road that we're on today, and we forget. And when we fall like a wilted rose, be a goddamn cactus. And don't look at the roses because it's pretty. Look at the substance of a cactus. It weathers all storms. It goes through drought and it sustains itself. And every year, it blooms the most beautiful flower anybody has ever seen.
That's right.
So you have a choice. You can be a rose because it looks pretty on the outside. That's bad. It wilts after. It's always gonna wilt, but a cactus without stems.
That's right.
And be prickly. Keep them MFers at bay.
Be a prick.
No, not everybody should have access to you that easily. But in saying that, we have to remember, yeah, those roads were paved. I mean, you look back, you reach back to the ancestors of any tribe. You know, you got the civil rights, Frederick Douglass, you got Pedro Albizu Campos, Lolita Lebron, you have Zapata from Mexico, Jose Maria, the poet from, I mean, I love going back and looking at these revolutionists that make change. We need, yes, let's get one. Because I even wrote something about that. There's an old refrain where this man says, I'm going to say it. Give me a minute, Laura. A man goes up to this elder. He's called un sabio, which is a man of wisdom. And he says that he's married, but he has a lover, and the lover wants him to leave the wife and be with her. And he's torn because, you know, supposedly he loves them both. So the man asks him, would you buy these, which were roses, or this? And he's like, of course, the roses. And he says, I knew you would, because you only go for what's pretty on the outside. He says, that lady you're going to leave for a lover, does that lover know you like your wife? Does she knows the in and outs, what makes you sad, what makes you happy, what makes you cry? Does she, you know, is your lover going to do this, this, and that, and get to learn you all over? I mean, it was a beautiful thing, and I'm paraphrasing, and I'm fucking it up big time. In the end, a cactus with all its pricks and thorns, which means the women's aggravation and the nagging that the man says we do, you know, look at the outside of the cactus for that. But inside, we know you. We understand you, you know, so for yourself, you know, understand her, the woman inside, and be that cactus and celebrate the first day of Women's History Month today. I don't even know why that kept popping up in my calendar. But all that to say is the road's been paved. You know, with the badass took a big, wish you wrote her story in her book. And for those that read it, thank you. Chanel. I mean, we went out there and we said, sure, we'll do it. Boom, and wrote our story. And it's flowing, beautiful. It's like sewn into the tapestry of the soul of every woman who shared their story on those pages. So it's a beauty. And the second one should be better because there should be more authors in it. And so you go and you make change within yourself. And then we're going to get on topic right now because my lip hurts.
Right. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? So defining elephants in the room, because of course I've got to go now that we got to the end of the half hour here. I already have to go outside for a moment. So so elephant in the room is a major problem or controversial issue that is obviously present but avoided as a subject for discussion because it is more comfortable to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that is. So we came up with some ideas and conversation. So what do you got, Gladiator Guru? I know you were writing feverishly yesterday.
Well, first we're going to start out with the question. I'm saying, and everybody who's on answer this, and Laura, how many elephants can fit in a Volkswagen? Now we all know that's a Puerto Rican joke, right? So how many elephants can fit in a Volkswagen? And you're like, oh no, elephants are big. They not even one. It'll squish it. Blah blah. Whatever the theory may be, right? That's how many we carry around our lives with the elephant in the motherfucking room. That we go like this.
Yep.
That we go like that. That we look under it if it's standing up, and we don't address whatever is here because why? It's uncomfortable, or it's uncomfortable for us, or it's going to be uncomfortable for the person that we have to address, or maybe if we ignore it long enough, it's just going to and dissipate. It doesn't. It only grows and it festers like a virus, like a bacteria. You leave it there, you know, that little thing like on the fruit, and you say, I gotta cut that off before it gets bad, but you don't, and before you know it, the next day you come and all the fruits have that gray shit on it. That's how many. So why is it the fear? Thank you, Carmen. Carmen said too many, and you're right. Chanel said 4. When we don't address something, when as women, the most powerful species in the universe, fails to address something because it might be uncomfortable for whomever we got to bring it up to, or a family as a collective, then what are we doing? One, we're not, as the matriarch of the family, we're not assisting in any change. You know, in order to address something, you have to just do it. Now, with today being the first day of celebration of women's history, we are the most powerful species in the universe. And when we gather, oh maron, it's like they can feel the trickle effect no matter what side of the globe you're on. When we gather in kindness, gratitude, and love, that is amazing. The sound waves that can go to the other side of the globe from where we are. That's why every time we've tried to gather, every time we try to come into leadership, we have been met with opposition. Because women gathering together, have you ever seen the clips of elephants when one of them dies? They all come together. Or when one of their babies die, they all come together and they sob like we would sob. And then they like comfort one another. And if a mama elephant dies, one of the other mama elephants will adopt her child and rear it until it's old enough to be on its own. And those are elephants. Those are these huge, beautiful creatures. I love elephants. But that is us. Because that's what we do. We come together. And the more that we try to ignore an issue that is taking up our breathing space, wherever we are, how are we going to flourish? How are we going to learn ourselves at a deeper level and understand whomever it is we're dealing with? Because it could be your husband, it could be your children, it could be your grandchildren. If you don't address concerns, you're never going to truly know them at their deepest and at their most vulnerable. Sometimes people are not going to say, oh my God, I'm going through this. They're just going to hope you notice something and ask. And it might be the most uncomfortable thing, but they need you to ask. And you know you need to ask. And I'm just saying, you know, let's just say, fuck it. You might get upset, but I got to ask you. This is uncomfortable for me, but I got to ask you, can we talk about this? What are some of the conversations that people avoid with the elephant in the room? Religion and politics. Unrequited love. People think that because I love you, you have to love me. Or because I love him, he should know. No, it's okay to have a one-sided love affair, to have a a love relation with somebody who may never know that you love them or how deep you love them. That's yours. Why are you going to put your expectations on anybody? And that's an elephant in the room that we totally ignore. And then we get, our expectations are soaring. And then I don't believe that they should know I did this. Stop. Speak it out if it's bothering you that much. But unrequited love. We don't talk enough directly with the persons involved about addiction. We go around the surface. We'll throw little hints, and then we get upset and we leave, or they leave, and nothing ever gets said to the profoundness of wake up. I'm here. I love you. Let me help you. It never gets to that point because then you get all worked up here and there. We're going down the list. The next one is gender, sexuality. People don't want to talk about that. Oh, my son ain't gay. My daughter's not a prostitute. Whatever. We don't want to talk about why. Racism. Look what Carmen wrote. Money and power. There's some people that like to have dick measuring contests with that. Money and power. So Lori wanted to ask the question, what are you avoiding in a relationship? Expand, because I read the other part of the list, and then we have one more question at the end. You remember that one?
Yeah. So that is the elephant in the room too. Like how often do you come home from work, or your significant other comes home from work, and you just don't want to talk about the stuff that needs to be talked about? It could be there could be substance abuse issues within the relationship. There could be no intimacy. There could be no sex. There could be that the person's going out and doing, like not home that much, and maybe they're doing something else. I mean, so that's a big one. We, like, a lot of times we get into this routine when you've been together with somebody for a really long time, and you just don't talk about it. They come home, you do your routine, you have dinner, you sit down, and you could maybe sit in the same room and watch TV, or you're in another room watching TV. And all I thought of was like, are the elephants packing into your house? Like, are you adding elephants by the year, every year that you're with the person, and you're sitting down, watching TV, and you're like, the elephant's like right there. So you're like trying to look, okay, wait, all right, yeah, I got the TV now. Instead of dealing with the fucking elephant, you're just, well, let me move the TV because I really can't see it anymore. It's so much easier to avoid. So the question is what are you, maybe within your relationship with your significant other, or maybe it could be with your parents or your siblings, whatever, even a boss.
Like, what aren't you talking about? We don't talk about Bruno.
Fabulous movie, by the way.
I love the colors. Yeah, that's exactly it. What aren't we talking about? That's the elephant in the motherfucking room. All of the subjects, all of the necessary things that are left unsaid. And all it does is, although that elephant's in the room where we're supposed to be having these conversations, when we leave, it's sitting on our chest.
Yeah, you can't breathe.
We're still avoiding it because now we want to blame somebody for cutting us off. The line at the grocery store is too long. What the hell am I going to cook now? And then it just becomes this tangled mess. And you're walking around like a twisted up salty pretzel because you can't figure out your own BS. Because it is your elephant in your motherfucking room. What are you going to do about it?
Right. What? And it takes its toll. I mean, that's the thing. It's not the more we ignore things and the more we don't deal with them, obviously the more they build up, right? So you started with one elephant and then you get another. And then at that point you get very overwhelmed, because when you decide that maybe I do want to deal with this, now you have a whole fucking herd of elephants, right? And so now you have to know that you got to go one by one. You can't just open the door and let them all out. I mean, you could, but that's when, and sometimes that happens, we wait and wait and wait. And then finally we just blow up and we just start we start dealing with all the elephants, and it's overwhelming sometimes, because especially if you haven't really gave anybody warning about the elephants that we're building up, especially when it's specific to them, it's almost counterproductive. And it's not even almost, it often is counterproductive, because when you throw up like that and just hit it all at one time, they don't even believe you, because they're, oh, why didn't you say anything sooner, or blah, 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 or why did you let this go for so long? They'll throw things out like that. And so it is, obviously the best thing to do is just not let the elephant be there, but now be brave enough to say, you know what? Okay, it's time that I deal with these things, and take one at a time and deal with it.
Deal with it accordingly. But, first of all, in order to deal with it, what you got to do, you got to acknowledge that it's there.
That's
exactly,
right.
Rhonda. And why won't they go out? Because we're not acknowledging that they're there. We're hoping that, if you open the door, just say there's a bumblebee in your house. So instead of chasing it out, you just open the door and hopefully it goes out on its own, or one of those big flies in the summer. Come on, we all had them. And then you open the door or the window and you're hoping it goes out on its own. No.
You have to guide it.
So you got to acknowledge that the elephant is there, that there's a mama with her 4 babies, because then the other problems are going to come up small, and then they grow as much as you ignore them. So here's the problem. You're going this way, and it's like you're pulling the string that's enlarging them. Acknowledge that there's an elephant in your room.
Yes.
Accept the fact that the elephant is there, because there is an issue you must discuss, that you must put your gloves on and swim through the shit to get to the other side. Allow yourself to feel the discomfort and the disruption in your life, because you thought that by ignoring it, you were like, hey, I'm okay with this, but it wasn't, right? So feel what you got to feel towards it. Feel that, oh shit, I got to face this. Build that courage to do so. Not everybody can just say, hey, listen, we got to talk something, whatever. Not everybody can do that. And in my late 40s, I've learned to just say, it's okay, Margie. Not everybody can't do that. But it was something that I was one of my issues, my elephants in the room. I was like, say what you got to say and be done with it. And when people like, I couldn't be around those people. They annoyed me to the point where I was like, you know what? You're too weak. You have to stand up for yourself. And I wasn't mad that they weren't speaking up, because that's how I am. I was mad because they didn't think they were valued enough to speak up. So guess what I did? I avoided them. Like, when you grow some, then come talk to me, because right now I just can't. You're too mushy. And that's how I was for the most part of my life. I could not deal with somebody who was like that. Then, you find the medium, and then you just say, listen, and then you start teaching them how to understand the person that they are inside. But let me tell you, it took a long time for me to get there. So now what you do is you just explain to them, acknowledge that it's there, accept the fact that it's something you have to get dirty, whether, you have to dirty yourself. All those pretty little flowers, gardens that you put up to avoid the stink that's really happening in your life. Guess what? Those flowers can only...
Time to shovel some elephant shit.
Yeah. So now you got to deal with the reality of it. So accept it. Feel it. Feel scared. Feel empowered. Feel discomforted. Feel all of that as you're walking towards the issue. And then once it's said, the only power you have is to say your piece, is to explain your side. The elephant will dissipate, but the issue might not be resolved. But you have to be okay with that. As long as you know you exhausted all your options and you put that best foot forward and you said, no mas. I'm tired. My neck hurts. I'm doing like this around the elephant to look at the TV. Release it and then celebrate those accomplishments, because guess what? You acknowledge that it was there. Like you took those blinders off. You're like, honey, kids, roommate, whatever. We need to have this discussion. Accept it, because now you acknowledge the elephant. Now you accepted the fact that you have to handle your business now, and you're feeling all this, all dreading. Hold on a minute. It's because I'm talking too much. You're dreading going home because you have to approach this subject. Feel it. And then speak your mind. Vomit all those emotions that have been making you irky at work, snapping, all that kind of stuff, losing sleep, whatever you could have done. And then celebrate that you did it, whether you got the result you wanted or not.
Yes, Milagros is right. I think that's the problem, is that we overthink it. We know what we have to say, and the longer we take, the more elephants come in, the harder it is to do it, because again, it has to do with the fact that you don't think you're worthy. Like, we think that we're not strong enough. Oh, what happened to Gladiator Guru? She'll jump back on. We think that we're not strong enough, and we think that we won't be able to handle it. So we allow the elephant to be there. We just ignore it. And then we live our lives, and then another one comes in, and then we ignore it, rather than being able to just deal with it at that moment in time. And then once you realize that you can work through these things and deal with them, you'll become more resilient. And, again, I mean, it's just easier to bring stories into it. But see, I've seen this with my mom. Like, my mom, there's so many elephants in her house. Let's put it that way. Like, there's just, it's like, it's hard to get around. She keeps buying candles to just keep the smell under control here. Right. And she just doesn't want to deal with it. And I've seen my mother just break down physically. It's taking its toll on her. And then here's what happens is, when you finally have had enough, it sometimes may even be too late. Not that it's too late for her, but she's finally saying things, but she's like exhausted, right? But there's still so many other things that she just refuses to deal with. And what it's done for me is it's explained a lot about me, but it's also made me realize that I don't want to live that life. I don't want to live that way. And there are elephants that I've been dealing with, I've gotten my herd down to a little bit now. There's not so much of a big herd anymore. But it's because there's different size elephants too. You might have a couple baby elephants, but I still have like one or two big ones that have got to be dealt with, and they've got to be dealt with this year. And there's reasons why. This is the other piece. Everything that Gladiator Guru was saying to do. Also, one thing is, don't beat yourself up too much to think, like, if you get off this broadcast and go, I didn't do all these, and I feel like now that I'm looking at, I've got so many elephants, take one step at a time. You weren't ready. You weren't ready to deal with them. I wasn't ready to deal with them. I had to hit my lowest point in my life to be able to deal with the elephants.
Well, that's another thing. Why do you got to wait, though? You don't always have to be ready. And I understand what you're saying, but I think that's not acknowledging or accepting. I've met people who will say, well, I'm not ready. I got to be ready, mind, body, and soul. Well, what the fuck? It's already been 5 years. How much longer do you need? So can you explain that?
Yes. I mean that I don't want them to beat themselves up if, like, they get the aha moment today. Like, if they get off this broadcast and they say, oh, these are my elephants and crap, I've just let these go. Don't beat yourself up that you didn't deal with them. Deal with them now. And you're right. Whether you're ready or not, just deal with them. That's what I meant by that. It's like, I didn't want them to turn around and go, well, it's too late. I've had too many. I'm not going to deal with them. It's never too late. It's just do it. You have a really good support system. You have us, you have the tribe, that if you need something, reach out to the people that support you and say, hey, listen, I need some help moving this freaking elephant out of my house. Sometimes it's a little literal, it's like you are moving somebody or something out of your house. But it's okay. That's what this is for. This is what this platform is for, to be able to encourage you to do it, to be brave enough to do it, to know you can. And then when you need help, ask for it. And if somebody says no to you, move on to the next person that can help you. Because when you know it's right and somebody is enabling or saying, oh, well, why would you want to do that? That's going to disrupt all this stuff. Next, because that's part of the problem. See, they're putting their elephant right in front of you. Like you're trying to move your elephant and they're moving it right back in because they're like, no, no, no. And that's also what happens. The elephants that we don't want to deal with are also the elephants other people don't want to deal with. And when you're ready to push it out, there's always going to be somebody that's going to want to keep it there. But so you have to get to a point where you say, well, guess what? If you don't want to move it out, then I'm walking out. Then I'm moving myself out and going to create a new life for myself.
That's what in the journal that I'm about to put out, it says that, love yourself enough, trust yourself enough that you're not going to take on anybody's bullshit, because that does happen a lot to people. They take on other people's problems, but I believe that they do that to avoid their own, because if they're too busy invested in someone else's BS, then they can get to theirs later. So, I mean, it's all about understanding the woman that you are, empowering the woman that you are, growing into the woman that you were born to become. All of that starts and ends with you. Look at Marina. The time I took the elephant out, I lost my speech. But when it came back, I couldn't stop everything, was taken care of. That was a wild ride. And you will lose something in order to gain something. But you're never going to know unless you do it, and stop blaming your environment. Stop blaming the people around you. I firmly believe nobody's going to get you to the other side of the river unless you paddle your damn ass over there.
That's correct.
There's many excuses to use, but my kids, but this, my husband, my that. You know what? That's all they are, is excuses. Because your kids are going to honor and respect you more when they see you standing up for who you are, for what you want, and paddling your ass across the river and then saying, I'm going to come back to you. Let me gain my strength crossing this river. No one owes you anything, and you don't owe your life to anyone else, not even your kids. So tighten up, reevaluate your situation, look at what you can handle today, because you're not going to handle the whole picture. Shit, I'm not. I still got shit I got to do. But do it one step at a time. And you know what? My step might be a little bigger than yours. Your step might be a little bigger than mine. So everybody goes according to what they are willing to step. But by God, if you haven't, start today. Because before you walk, you crawl. And before you run, you walk. And before you fall, you know what it is to stand. So your rising comes much easier. But you got to be willing to do it.
And something that's really, really big about what Marina wrote, because she said, see, once you start it, Gladiator Guru is right. Sometimes you're just dealing one after another, but sometimes you just takes getting rid of 3 elephants. Then all of a sudden, like Wanda was saying, that door's open and all of a sudden the whole herd follows, because sometimes it happens that way. And we think of it as, oh my God, I got too many. I got to deal with each one. It's going to take a while. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. That's not the way the universe works. Look at what Marina said. She said that when she finally did it, she lost her voice, but when it came back, everything was in the way it was supposed to be. And that's the way it is. You let a couple of elephants out, and all of a sudden the rest of the herd can come out really rapidly. And we're our worst enemy. We assume that it's going to be a long process. It's going to be this. Maybe it will be, but you don't know unless you take that first step.
Are you not worth it? Are you not worth it? Lori wrote her book, and it took her time, and she said, I want to write a book, and it took her time, and she built that courage, and she faced that elephant, and she put it out there. So what I'm saying is, it's in all of us.
Yes.
Nobody's better than nobody else. What I'm saying is, there's people that you do have to say, okay, I can't be tough like her. Well, I don't want you to be tough like me. What I want you to do is wake up into your own strength, because we all have them. We all gave birth. If we survived that, then what the hell can we not survive?
Absolutely.
Someone else's thoughts about us, someone else's opinions about us, fuck that.
Yes, they don't matter.
Not only did you nourish something, kicking you, making you throw up, sucking up all your energy, making your hair go bad, your vitamins and all that, then you push that sucker out your vagina. Right? That was painful. And then you spent your life raising it. You couldn't cry because you had to be strong for this child. So there's nobody outside of your children that can break you. So what the hell are you waiting for? Approval, validation? You know what? Put that in your back pocket. It's about you, painfully raw, showing who you are, throwing out what you no longer need, and telling people you need to move the fuck out the way because I'm coming through.
That's
There's
right.
no more going around nobody.
That is right.
And that's what Marina went through. Marina's like, I'll lose that. Whatever it takes that I have to go through today, so that tomorrow that elephant won't be there, then I'm gonna give birth to that new me.
That's
and
correct.
Giving birth is painful. So every time you have to rebirth yourself, it's gonna be painful for you. But then when you take that first breath at the aftermath, you're gonna have clean air. So it's worth it. I'm sorry.
We've got it. No, listen, that was fabulous. We don't apologize. I want to show those some of the tribe, what they're writing here. So Chenille Real Deal, OMG, exactly what just happened to me yesterday. I ignored what was being told to me in my review and it bothered me. So I brought it up finally to my boss yesterday and I blew up. And it might be too late, but I'm happy I stood up for myself and fought for what I now I know I deserve. So another review was scheduled. So let's see what happens. And Chenille has dealt with this. She was in the first volume of her badass story. She talks about fighting for what's right for her. So she is absolutely a badass. Let's see. Nicole Young, we have chosen in front of everything. Choose you now. Find comfort in the uncomfortable. Your mother is the reason your legacy is not happening. Someone has to choose you. It's you. Correct. It's like we cannot blame our parents. All we could do is learn. They only know what they know. Yeah. And we only learn from them. You know, we could figure things out about ourselves, but if we're still not doing stuff, we can't say it was their fault. I challenge my elephant. This is what Nicole says. You do not have to like what someone says. Choose your peace. And that's exactly what Marina says. You gain freedom. Mm-hmm. Jonathan, yes, tell them, pick yourself and live your life. Fuck it. Let's go. We have shit to do. I love Jonathan. Kathy Ruiz, speaking your truth is so important. My mama rarely spoke her truth. She always shut down when it came to others, especially family. But my mother's the same exact way. To this day, she didn't want others to know her truth. I'm so glad I knew her truth. This encouraged me to speak my truth. Shutting down is not the answer. Life is so worth living. Yes, absolutely. And do you see, this is not just about what Gladiator Guru is saying or what I'm saying. This is the tribe talking. This is why it's so important for this to be heard by so many people, because it's not just us telling, it's you all telling, because we all have a story. Like we all have been through it. And some people figure it out real early in life and they have something happen and they know it in their 20s and they fix it. Sometimes nothing ever bad happens to some people, and some people don't figure it out until they're 70, 80 years old. I don't give a crap when you figure it out. Just do it. Like leave today saying, okay, you know what? What are my elephants in the mother effing room? Like what are they? Let me deal with them. And what can I do starting today? Yeah. Which elephant can I deal with? What is worth it? I know some of them will work on others. You know, you have to get rid of a certain elephant before the other elephant will follow that. But you still have to identify what needs to be dealt with and then know that you are courageous enough to do it. Don't say, I don't know if I'm courageous enough. You are. You're built that way. We have done the most incredible things and we never thought twice about them. Like Gladiator Guru was saying, we birthed children and we don't think twice about it because we're like, well, that's just what women do. So it's birthing. Are you kidding me? It's men can't do that. You know what I mean? And the thing is that, you know, we do it with an expectation of just getting up. I went back to work when I had my private practice and full time. I went back to, actually, I was working for somebody. It wasn't even my practice yet. I was going to buy him, but I was still working for somebody's associate. I went back to work when my daughter was 2 weeks old, brought her with me and would strap her to me or sit her down because I had to, because because he didn't really want me to stay out any longer. And I'm the one that was running the business. The other child, I was going to take the full term and my boss gave me a hard time. A woman, by the way, gave me a hard time about me taking off. And I was so mousy and so quiet. Like I didn't stand up for it. But here's what I did do. There was another woman that was pregnant at the same time. She was, as soon as I came back in, I went in about 6 weeks later. I wanted to take the full like 3 months, I walked into my office, put my stuff down, walked into that woman's office, shut the door and said, you better take the entire freaking time. I think Connecticut is 4 months. You could take 16 weeks. I said, I don't care what they tell you. I don't care if they say that how they're going to do this without you. You take that freaking 4 months, because I am so pissed that I did not. And I didn't stand up for myself, because I was always good at standing up for other people. And so that's what I did. I went in there, and you know what she said? She took it. She goes, oh my God, I'm so glad you came in, because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And they were giving me a hard time. She took her 4 months, came back, walked into my office and said, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I would have done it. And I'm like, I'm glad I was able to help somebody. I was pissed that I didn't have it within me at that point to stand up, but I got it a few years later. At that point, I got it a few years later.
Got it. But going back, you said expectations. A lot of elephants in the room, because now I got to play the devil's advocate and the 2 minutes we have left. A lot of the elephants in the room that you feel you do have to approach are your expectations of that other person. You built this elephant, and now you're frustrated, you're angry, you feel unfulfilled because of your expectations of the individual you chose to be with, and they're not making you happy. So what do? You got to learn whoever you're with too, because half the problems we carry, we created. So there's no blame game here. I'll repeat that for the people in the back. Half the problems that we carry, we have created. Whether mentally, the people who are so into assumptions and holding, these are the judgmental people. These are the envious people. Don't be one of them. They're ugly. And so when there's an elephant in the room, you're going to have to take a step back, and you're going to have to analyze, is this a real elephant, or is this a figment of my imagination with all the issues that I have created? Be true to who you are. Be true to how you're going to approach it. Approach it. Because even if it is a creation from your negative mind, or your expectations of how someone else is supposed to behave, how they're supposed to look at you, how they're supposed to make love to you. I mean, all this goes on in our head, don't lie. Figure it out, and then dissipate it if it is something that you created. And if it is a real issue that we talked about the first 40 minutes of the show, then handle it, acknowledge it, accept it, feel it, approach it. And then together, or whomever it is, your children, your spouse, your roommate, whoever it is that elephant is in your space, fix it. Because the only time you can't fix something is when you're dead. But while you're living, your pride, don't let your pride stop you from doing what's right. That's why we stay miserable. That's why the elephant does not walk out of the open door, because our pride is holding us back from acknowledging something. So all that to say, I don't know where my girl went. We'll wait for her to come in. But identify what's the elephant, because it's easy for us to say there's an elephant and we got to approach it. And like I said, the list, religion, politics. Sometimes I've met a husband and wife that were on opposite sides of the presidential elections, where I think one of them even got divorced over it. But go down your list. And if it has nothing to do with your expectations, but it is a real life issue, please approach it. If it has to do with your expectations, please approach it. The way you look at it, you have to handle it.
Yep.
And I don't know, I was going to say something. I was waiting for you, but.
Sorry, my dogs were going nuts with they act like they've never seen another dog walking on the street before.
Look
so
at Chanel. That sounds cool, Chanel, real deal.
Women are badass. Yes. Women in networking. Yes. I've been in that group myself. They're across the country. Yes. We thank you for staying on longer. I know we started a little bit late, but we really, really appreciate it. And, listen, let's celebrate all month, I'm actually putting together a little ad. And the fact is that Viva Cafe con Leche celebrates women every month. You know, we're talking about Women in History Month for March, but we celebrate women every single month. And you being here helps us celebrate. You sharing it helps us celebrate. And Jonathan and the men that come on help us celebrate because, you know, he is one of those guys that knows the power, but, you know, we also know his power. And together, when we both are honoring of each other's abilities, there's nothing we can't do. There's nothing we can't do in this world. And so for those of you that are just stepping into your power, we are here for you. And we will help you in any way, shape, or form that we can do this, you know, because it doesn't matter how old you are. Just do it. Just get rid of those effing elephants. Clear out your house. If once you clear out those elephants and you look around and go, what the hell is this? Where am I? Who is this? Who's this person in the mirror? Who am I looking at? My significant other? Then go. Because sometimes that's the other problem. We put those elephants there so we don't really want to see what's in front of us.
Yeah. And your pride, and like the book Pride and Prejudice, you know what? I'm not going to know, as psychic as I would love to be, I'm not going to know what you're feeling or what you're thinking unless you open your fucking mouth and say something. And that's to my siblings, to my kids, to my partner, to whomever. Speak your mind. Tell me where you're hurting. Tell me what we need to fix. Tell me what we need to change. If I'm your partner and the elephant's in our room, but I don't see it because I'm oblivious to how you're feeling, please speak up, ladies. Jonathan, he spoke up. He told us he did. You know what? Speak up. You don't have to yell. You don't have to curse. You don't just say, listen, this is what I'm feeling right now. And if you're too prideful to say, please help me, then say, you know, I'm going through this. You don't have to say, help me. Just say, I'm going through this right now. And then wait, because sometimes they'll say, how can I help? What do we need to do? But you know what? Open those doors, because if you know that you're being held back because of your pride and prejudice, the other person knows too, and they're saying, well, if she needs me, she needs to ask.
That's right. And that's their excuse. That's their way of avoiding. Look at what Yaya wrote. You ladies came to me at a great time. I was feeling defeated. You gave me that fuel to keep fighting. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Jonathan, nope, we are who we hang out with, and we've been through the ups and downs. We have to pick each other up. Let's enjoy this lifetime to be happy. Love you all. Thank you, Jonathan. We love you too, because you are fabulous.
Why he said no? Why you say no, Jonathan? Why you say that? I heard my accent coming real thick. Why you say that? Yes. So this was a great conversation. Yes. You know what, Jajita? Absolutely. Because I put off doing something yesterday. And then what I did was I literally stopped a project I was painting. And I took a shower. Stop the BS and speak up. It's your voice.
Yeah, that's what the note was for.
You know what? You're just as, you know, I love the Greek mythology, all the gods, Zeus, Apollo, Aphrodite. I love since I was a child. So, but if in Mount Olympus, where Zeus is king, where God is reigns supreme, you know, the president, that your voice, it's at an even level with that power. Your voice is powerful. So choose wisely and choose you, so that then you can be better for all of those around you. That's what we need to remember. We need to remind ourselves, you know, there's no society, you know, chain of, okay, so I'm down here because I'm this. No, I say I can be in the Vatican with the Pope, in the Oval Office. If somebody says something, I'm going to be, yeah, the fuck you are. Be who you are at all levels. Be kind, be grateful, but be true to you.
That's right. That's right. Be true and move those freaking elephants. So we will continue the conversation with our guest on Thursday. We're going to be talking about empowering the disempowering thoughts, because that is what keeps those elephants in the room. So thank you so much for everybody coming on today and indulging us. And we could put Jonathan's, when you choose you, there's always someone watching, and don't be surprised who you can affect. yes, Jonathan, thank you for that last bit, because we always think it's a negative effect, but there's a lot of people looking, and it could be even your own children saying, wow, so glad that mom stood up or dad stood up for themselves. And now I know I have permission to do it. So thank you for that. And thank you everybody from the tribe for the comments, for the shares, for opening up, because this is how we all help each other. So
this is how we do it.
That's right. All right, we are out. So we'll see you on the next show on Thursday. So again, from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Yes, and you look very lovely today. I forgot to say that. We got so caught up. I love the look, the whole look. I love even your tan lines. Okay,
me too.
Be true to you. Absolutely. And remember, breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.